Hello there, darlings. Welcome to the Clockwork Cabaret. I didn't mean to encourage any of this. I am so sorry. I blame the liquor or Emmett. Yes, she makes a much better scapegoat. And now, on with the show.
The sound of the cuckoo, you know that it is time for the Clockwork Cabaret.
Hooray!
I am Emmett Davenport.
And I am Lady Attercop.
And
hey, how you doing, America?
Yeah.
Hey.
I am cautiously optimistic.
I mean,
there's still 2 months of 2020 left. Or a month and a half of 2020 left, so I feel a little. I don't want to get too excited because who knows what that orange pumpkin is gonna do.
There's a lot of fuckery that can occur between now and then. It is true,
but
however, gotta say, feeling a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Than I was this time last week.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
why I'm feeling a little more hopeful. There's still a lot of work to be done, a lot of systemic racism to dismantle and white supremacy, and there's still a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of things we would like to get done.
Yes.
But we got somebody talking about maybe putting together COVID coalition? That sounds exciting.
A COVID task force with actual scientists.
With science!
And rejoining the Paris Climate Accords and getting back with WHO. And
these are baby shamble steps, but they're steps!
Yes. I mean, there's still a lot of progressive things that I personally would like, and, to anybody to everyone... To all adults, actually I have a very personal message. To all of the adults that when I was a young woman who told me that as I got older I would become more conservative, I would like to send a message to those adults that said that to me. Fuck you, no I won't. Because I have actually become more radical as I have gotten older.
40-year-old Lady Attercop is, 43-year-old Lady Attercop is much further left than 23-year-old Lady Attercop.
18, 20-year-old Emmett Davenport was a very much a... we should work together and compromise because, there's right and wrong on both sides. 46-year-old me is like, nope, you're all wrong. You're all wrong and trying to kill all the people I care about? Yeah, no, fuck you. No.
Let me tell you about this radical new shit I've been reading about.
Yeah, no, I have gone way more.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I am weirdly way more middle class than I ever expected to be in my 20s. However, I would gladly share all of it in order to make sure that everyone else is taken care of. So, I have no problem.
It's almost as if the gulf between the well-to-do and the working poor has gotten wider over the past 20 years that we've been since we were young ingenues and then became middle-aged. It's almost like as if we have watched the decimation of the working middle class.
Oh yeah. It's
and that has radicalized us in a way that didn't happen to the generation before us.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how when there's this huge gulf between the people who are very, 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 very rich and the people who are very, 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 very not rich, uh, guillotine suddenly seem like a rational response.
Yeah.
Not that we would ever
Think about
endorse
making one.
guillotines.
No.
No, that's too swift a death. No, I'm just kidding. They were invented by a doctor so that you didn't suffer. No. Obviously, we're engaging in hyperbole because even though we've had some very good news, it is still a very stressful time for
a lot of
all of
marginalized
us.
people and but
and us in particular.
Yeah. But I would very much like, everybody who has worked hard to get us over this hopefully first initial hump back to a better society.
Georgia.
I'm very happy about, and I appreciate all of the hard work that everyone has
Can we
done.
just give a shout out to Georgia, Nevada, and Pennsylvania?
Yes.
And
Arizona.
We are sitting here in North Carolina.
North Carolina, the only state that isn't gonna have a decision until the 13th.
Until the 13th of 2021, as far as I can tell.
Yes.
North Carolina, we don't get any good memes. We don't get a gritty.
No.
We don't deserve a gritty.
No, we just get the cat stare.
The sad cat.
In a corner.
But yeah, oh man, just kudos to everybody and kudos to people who did it in North Carolina too, because we totally understand we are gerrymandered to hell and back.
Yeah, there's voter suppression going on. There's the
voter suppression in North Carolina is
abysmal.
It is honestly insane. And the fact that we can come as close as we did, it speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And then we're trying not to be. We try not to make this a political show.
No, but this is definitely. I feel like this is definitely a moment where I think it's all on all of our minds, and I know it is on mine, and and I would actually, one of the things that I look forward to the most about hopefully the next 4 years is that for a little while, for like a day or two, I can take my eyes off of what our politicians are doing for just a minute.
There's not currently a horse in the hospital.
Yeah, I just would really like to be able to step away periodically and not come back to find out that they have done something stupid.
I would like an administration that doesn't actively ignore the deaths of my friends and family from a contagious virus, because it's not, they don't actually give a crap about it.
Yeah. Well, I also look forward.
I would like that.
I look forward to. Yeah, I look forward to. I look forward to science being, and maybe some rational thought being.
I would like to look forward to science being a nonpartisan issue.
Which seems like a really weird
contagious disease not being like a political football, because contagious diseases don't give a crap about your political affiliation. They just give a crap about whether they can breathe themselves inside your lungs.
Yeah. No, these are things like it's a pretty low bar of which
it's a low bar, but it's on the ground. It's underground, but I would like to.
Yeah. No, there's
on over it. What if we talked about Cats the musical instead?
No, again?
I'm sorry, I just watched it again recently.
Why? Because you want
it seemed like a good idea to do when I had already had a drink and was looking to have
a second drink. I watched a weird yet good I guess I don't know. The jury's still out. I watched a weird Austrian vampire movie yesterday.
Oh.
Yes. It made me think, the way it was filmed had some very like silent movie vibes without being a
Oh.
silent movie. Very
Hmm.
German, you know.
Some Dutch angles were happening.
Yes, yeah, oh yeah. Some well lit rooms and the weird and like slightly exaggerated leaping about things. It was entertaining. The humor was a little weird, but
Dutch.
I just broke that I just coughed that up to cultural differences cuz I'm not Austrian, so I don't know. It might have been really hysterical if if I could understand Austrian? German? What language do
German.
they speak? Is it German? Is it
I
Austrian?
believe it's German.
Is it Australian? What do they speak?
No, they speak English, supposedly. We're
In
just kidding,
Austria?
Australians. We love you.
Oh, in Australia. But yeah, but it was entertaining. It was called Therapy for a Vampire, and
Oh.
it was essentially it's set in 1930s, and a vampire goes to sit on the couch of Sigmund Freud and talks about how his 500-year-old marriage is falling apart.
Well, it's hard to
And
keep the
then
spark alive
yeah,
over 5 centuries.
yes, yeah.
And
Well,
then
also that
Sigmund
he
Freud suggested that
actually
he wanted to sleep with his mother.
well, it was mostly that he didn't like his wife, who was a vampire,
I would assume.
and you know,
I would hope after 500 years she was also a vampire and not just a
yes,
corpse.
yeah,
He's like, I
yeah.
don't know, doctor. The
Oh well, that
spark
was a
is
totally
dead.
different. That was a different character. No,
Carl von Kossel made an appearance.
but there
That was
was
a deep cut for those of you who are fans of Key West history.
that yeah, but it was entertaining. So if you like if you like if you like vampire movies and you like slightly off kilter vampire movies, it was definitely enjoyable.
We recently revisited Interview with the Vampire,
I'm
the
sorry.
classic, the 90s, well, the 90s movie classic,
The
the
90s.
70s
It was a
book
70s book. Yeah.
that
I'm
exists.
not going to tell you how I found out about that book because it
How
was
did
just
you find out about that book?
oh, my mother gave it to me
Oh
because because my mother and her weird ideas of
no! Appropriate literature.
appropriate literature. Yeah, I believe I was 14,
Oh
14 or
no.
15, I believe. And she went, "You're a little weirdo that likes occult things, my little darling daughter. You wear
Here, read
you
this
wear black a
book.
lot, and you read hard gothicy horror novels and things. Here's a book that probably you shouldn't read, but I'm totally gonna give it to you because that's an appropriate thing to give my 15-year-old daughter."
Well, okay, in defense, Interview with the Vampire, by the standards of Anne Rice's
Other
other
books,
vampire
yes,
novels,
totally. It's
pretty tame.
yes, oh yeah,
Lestat does not have sex with his mother in that book, so
yes,
hey,
yeah. Well,
again, the bar is underground.
yes, yeah, but
Yeah, we
yes,
had.
and then also, shortly thereafter, she then that's one of her first studies in sociology that she did for independent study when she went to college. Was she studied her first study to get her into the swing of being in college was vampires. So I read a whole bunch of vampire books with her.
Because she was secretly a 14-year-old emo girl?
Well, she was a narcissistic 17-year-old, so pretty much like Lestat.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So there you go.
I don't remember how I don't, who knows how I found out about it. I was a weirdo little art nerd.
Somebody handed it to you.
Yeah, I know it's shocking. I know everybody thought I was the coolest in high school. I was not. Shocking. Probably the friend that also whose older sister drove a checker cab and introduced me to Susie and the Banshees probably was the one that gave me Interview with the Vampire. I mean, yeah, that tracks. I was 16. I know I was 16 because I was hospitalized for a staph infection.
So very vampire-y.
Well, yeah, no, but I spent several days in a hospital, hooked up to an IV. Hey, I had time. And yes, I remember being 16 because I was in the pediatric ward.
Oh, really?
And the
At
nurses
16?
would all wander into my hospital room to chat with me because I was actually old enough to hold a conversation with them. Oh. And they were bored, basically. So I distinctly remember, and I had a staph infection and it was right on my boob, and as a very shy, awkward 16-year-old, so I just had to keep popping my tit out to all the doctors and nurses to be like, look at my infection, and it was very mortifying.
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah, so that time frame is kind of crystallized in my mind. That's when I read Interview with the Vampire, and I remember enjoying the book. It was before the movie. I read it before the movie came out. That's also how I know kind of how old I was. I remember enjoying it.
Oh no, I remember loving the book.
The Vampire Lestat immediately after it, and getting really, really mad at the wild, variation in characterization in the Vampire Lestat.
Oh yeah,
and being mad at Anne Rice for a while.
Oh yeah, no, I remember loving that book, and then I read Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned, and then
I never made it as far as.
And then once I got to Queen of the Damned,
Vampire Armand.
No, it was like Memnoch the Devil or the Tales of the Body Thief or something like that. One of them.
Yeah.
One of those. That's the one that I basically threw across the room and then went, nope, never reading any more of your stupid books. And then I stopped reading.
I got mad at the Vampire Lestat because I felt like the characterization between Interview with the Vampire and the Vampire Lestat was very different.
Oh, yeah. I just went with it.
But it wasn't until and then
this was also before fan fiction.
I don't remember what my opinion of the movie was when it came out.
Oh, I had a very strong opinion about it. I thought Tom Cruise was a terrible choice for Lestat. And I wasn't super excited about what's his name? The other one.
Antonio Banderas.
No, Brad Pitt for Louis. For Louis. I want to call him Louis. Louis seems more.
He's French.
Yeah, but Louis seems more fitting for his whiny man pain.
It does seem more fitting for his character, but it's not. It's Louis.
I know. Louis is that's too exotic for him.
He's a rich
if he was a human now, he would eat toast with no butter.
No.
And then
he would ask for toast with no butter, and then he would get mad because it was plain, and then he would burn the kitchen down.
Well, yeah, there would be fire a lot. For a vampire, he liked to incinerate things quite a lot.
Very flammable, but his whole methodology of breaking up with people is setting things on fire.
Yeah, the whole
thing. I didn't remember that from the book, but when we rewatched the movie, I'm like, so Louis just breaks up with every boyfriend by setting their house on fire, apparently? That's just his go-to move?
Also, I remember being very, very upset about the casting of Armand because he's supposed to be like 16, 17,
14.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be 16 or 17, and he's supposed to be red-haired.
But he's supposed to look 13 or 14.
Yes, yeah, it's very upsetting.
It's one of those let's just cast a grown-ass adult.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Eric Stoltz was who I thought would have been a perfect Armand.
I'm gonna stand behind the Antonio Banderas.
I mean, I like Antonio Banderas. Don't get me wrong. I like him. I just wasn't crazy about him being Armand.
I thought he was a pretty good vampire. I enjoyed him.
I did really like Kirsten Dunst as Claudia.
Wants to see a ginger vampire, Emmett.
Probably. Well, it's just normal.
This
No one can tell the difference.
Right. How can you tell they're a vampire? It just looks like a regular ginger.
I mean, they don't have a soul.
I say that it's a ginger.
It's the same thing.
We don't have souls. We can't go out in the sun. We skulk around in the darkness. How are you going to tell if we're a vampire or not?
Yeah.
You can't.
I think they're the best. I think that's the best option for being a vampire.
Like, clearly Scotch, Irish doesn't like seasoning on their food, so they're going to have an aversion to garlic.
Yeah. I really... Oh my gosh. Is being a vampire, is it just an allegory for being a ginger?
It's just being Scottish. All vampires are now Scottish. Oh, I love to suck your blood. No, it's like, oi! Yeah! I'm gonna suck your blood! And it's like, I don't understand what you're trying. No, I'm gonna beat you with my fangs and I'm gonna suck your blood. It's like, I don't understand what you're trying to say to me. I'm going to take my pointy teeth and put them in your neck. I'm gonna suck your blood. I don't get it. And then they just bash you upside the head and then they suck your blood.
Oh, yeah.
Soccer hooligans are all actually vampires.
Honestly, that is
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Yep. Scottish soccer hooligans.
That's now heavily... This is how fan fiction happens. And
that's why they're not allowed to leave Scotland during the World Cup. Because they don't want to spread vampirism to the rest of the world.
Yeah, no, it'd be terrible.
Yeah. That's just the World Health Organization. Who? That's who? Oh, no, Emmett! America isn't in Who anymore. We have no more protections against vampires.
Or gingers.
Listeners, gotta... Look, until we re-enter the World Health Organization conglomerate, whatever that is, I don't know. I don't do politics.
Yeah.
Don't trust any Scots or any gingers you come across. Could be a vampire that snuck over while our defenses against otherworldly horrors were down.
Also, if they're Scottish gingers, yeah, just stay away because they're definitely
double
vampires.
Whammy.
They're obviously vampires.
Obviously vampires. David Tennant has been seeding like sowing a seed of
for
like,
all
you can trust Scottish people. Look how charming he is. Oh, he's a dog.
For all of our Scottish listeners,
oh, he's Scrooge McDuck. You love him. No.
For all of our Scottish listeners, I would just like to point out we are both of Scottish descent. So...
Yeah, no, we were literally discussing shorty recipes before with this.
So
as a third generation Scot that is very pale and looks like a vampire, I wouldn't trust me.
And on that note,
I might suck your blood. You don't know.
And on that note, I'm gonna push a button.
Ladies, are you engaged? Engaged in a hopeless tussle with your bustle? Perhaps you are suffering from a lifeless caboose. No longer toil with a sad sagging skirt, but buttress your bustle with Madame Pomegranate's bustle starch. Put the hustle back in that bustle.
So, you watched Cats again.
I did.
Wow.
And so Mr. Ducky, the last time we watched Cats, we watched it in a kind of a group on...
Yeah, I was there.
Like a virtual group setting. And Mr. Ducky didn't really get to see it because it was too dark for him to actually make out anything that was going on. So we rewatched it in high definition. Did not improve the viewing experience. Did not improve the listening experience. I didn't realize how poorly the audio tracks were... The singing parts of the audio tracks were recorded for that movie. It all sounded like high-pitched screeching.
Oh, I just thought that was how it sounded.
I think I've mentioned this before.
Yes, that you're obsessive
when I was
about
18,
cats.
My aunt, and I graduated high school, my aunt took me to New York.
Yeah.
New York City!
Yes.
I got to go to a bunch of... museums, and we got to see a Broadway play, and one of the things that she took me to do was to see Cats, because when I was a very small child in the 80s and Cats was a thing, I was obsessed with it. Like, as an 8-year-old, that was all I wanted, was to go to New York and see cats.
Fair
I
enough.
don't know what I thought it was at 8.
I-
Not what it actually was, I'm sure. I just knew that there were people in cat costumes, and they were singing, and I was there for it. I liked musicals. I liked cats. I wasn't a furry. Don't know how I missed that train.
I was just about to say, are you sure this isn't your coming out as a furry moment?
No.
Are you about to?
When I say I don't know how I didn't end up a furry, I legitimately mean that is not a joke. I legitimately mean that. Yeah, once again, obsessed with cats as a small child in the 80s. So, like, when I was 18, my aunt bought us tickets to cats. I was very confused about why we were going to see cats. It's like, why are we going?
Because you had
what?
obviously forgotten about it by
I
then.
had forgotten about my childhood
later.
obsession, and then my mom kind of reminded me. It's like, oh no, you were like freaking obsessed with this play. Let your aunt take you to see cats. So we went to see cats, and it was fine. It's fine. It's fun. It's fun. Cats is a fun musical. Makes no goddamn sense. Doesn't need to. Like the plot of the play and the movie is, who is blank? Like, who is Scrimbleshanks? And then some other cats
explain to you who that cat is.
They're gonna jump in and be like, Scrimbleshanks? Why, he's the railroad cat! And then they're gonna sing a song about how Scrimbleshanks is the railroad cat. And then at some point, Scrimbleshanks is gonna jump in and sing about how he's the railroad cat. It's a good time for all.
Yeah.
The costumes are fun. The dance music is fun. Or the dancing is fun, if very, very, very horny. BT dubs. I know other people have said this, but yes, the movie is dialed down 1000% of how horny the stage play is. The stage play is so much hornier. I can't even describe to you how much hornier the stage play is.
So hard to believe because
it's hard to believe because the movie is so fucky, but believe me when I tell you.
It was just so inexplicably confusing and weird, and the film, and maybe because I have never had any interest in Cats, the musical, and I've never actually seen it.
I saw it on Broadway. I saw it in the original theater where the whole theater was made to look like a junkyard, because the play itself is supposed to be taking place in one location. It's a junkyard.
Yes.
And all the cats are coming to
I know about
the junkyard in order to sing for,
to join the death cult.
In order to ascend to cat heaven.
It's a death cult.
It's a death cult. But yeah, so I've watched the musical live, and I listened to the recordings of the musical, because that's a thing. When I've seen a musical, I then listen to the cast recording. Yeah. It's not the movie is screechy.
Yeah.
It's just like the movie is yelling at you at high volume. Like, it's just not well recorded as far as the singing bits are concerned.
There was just a lot of choices that I wasn't crazy about.
Some of the people singing the songs shouldn't be.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just...
I also would like to
understand a lot of the choices that were made.
I would like to know why sometimes the cats wear clothes.
So in the play,
and then wear fur.
Yeah, they all have costumes, and the costumes make sense to the characters. Yeah, for example,
when cats
let's take Rum Tum Tugger, for example, has a lot of big, like, lion-y fluff around his head, and then very tight, like, hindquarters, because he's supposed to be the sexy cat.
Yeah.
So he's got this kind of lion-esque mane, and then, like, tight pants and he spends his entire song thrusting his crotch into the faces of other cats. Thing.
Yeah.
But then, so, for example, like, Jenny Anydots does not at any point unzip her fur to reveal different fur underneath, because that's upsetting. So, like, in the play, the clothing kind of reflects either the character or the song that particular cat is singing.
Right. Well, I thought
in the movie, because I guess just because the fur tech is just so like tight to the CGI fur is just like so slick and kind of like close to the actual body shapes of the actors. Whenever a character is wearing a coat, they for whatever reason at some point take it off.
Well, I thought
And then
so.
B, it just makes all the other cats look naked.
Well, so my theory about the coats, because of who is wearing the coats, is that the cats that are wearing the coats are the elderly, and it's supposed to represent like
Not always the
being
elderly.
saggy
No,
fur
because
skin.
Tugger is wearing a coat,
Oh well, then I'm just confused, and I have
and
no
so
fucking
is
idea.
McCavity.
Oh well, then I don't
And
know.
because McCavity seems the most naked when he takes it off.
Well, yes, that is true. For
It's
some
like
reason,
the coats just almost exist to
'cause
make the other cats seem more naked.
well, because is McCavity the Idris Elba cat?
The Idris Elba cat.
Yes, he actually seems
most upsetting.
uncomfortably naked
He's
when
because
he
they
takes
made
his
the
coat
fur
off.
almost the same color as Idris Elba's real skin.
Yeah.
Which, number one, that was a choice that you didn't have to make. And number
Yeah.
two, like it just makes him seem twice as naked when he takes his hat and coat off.
Yeah.
And number three, he's also the only cat that they gave like weird glowing cat eyes to.
Yes.
Everyone else has sad human eyes, but not Mr. McCavity. I mean, I guess he's the bad guy, so he's
If you
got
could
the
have a
magic glowing eyes.
Yeah, no, it was a very confusing
No,
movie.
and then he's got a human face and human hands and human feet. So when he takes the coat off, and it's the same color as his like actual Idris Elba skin, you're just like, oh, so you're naked now.
No, let's just imagine. Okay, so
So
Cats.
Elba's gonna be naked in a movie.
Well, so
I want
Cats
it to be like good.
So Cats is CGI. So I would like everyone to go on this imagination vacation with me for a moment and just realize that this is almost everything in this is CGI. So you could theoretically make them any kind of animal you wanted.
So you could just make them.
They could be rats. They could be
Well,
dogs.
and also McCavity is supposed to be a ginger cat because it mentions that in
I
his
know
song.
that. I'm just saying that it doesn't have to be cats anymore. It could be dogs. It could be you could just CGI
any other animal.
any other
equally
animal.
as upsetting.
Elephants. They could all be elephants.
Oh no, just gray and wrinkly and upsetting, and then they're naked.
Camels. They're camels.
Naked camels.
Wombats. Wombats are huge.
Naked wombats.
Wombats are actually can almost be human size. So there you go. A whole bunch of wombats running around.
And then they take a coat off, and then you'd be like, that wombat is now naked.
Yeah.
Because when you put clothes on an animal, and the animal takes the clothes off, immediately naked.
Yes. It's not like animals are already naked.
Back to last week's theme: hire a furry.
Yes. Oh, it's just a continuation. Next week,
this is the theme for through the end of the year, where we just watch upsetting anthropomorphic.
Yeah, next week, Lady Attercop is just gonna fully embrace the fact that she is a furry.
But I'm not, and I don't understand how I missed that train. Like, this is an honest. This is not a bit. This is an honest to God question I have about my developmental childhood. How did I miss it? I don't know.
I don't know
either. All of the checkers were lined up. They just didn't fall over.
Huh. I mean, I didn't either.
Goth instead. No, actually, that's not an excuse. I did plenty of goth furries. I don't know. It just didn't happen. Just didn't happen for me. There's still time. Who knows? Who knows what I'll discover in my 80s?
Who knows what the rest of 2020? Who knows?
I might. Hell. I was discovering new things about myself in my 40s. Who knows what I'm going to find out in my 80s? Turns out I will be a furry. Gonna buy a whole fursuit. I'm going to go full Gritney. I'm gonna be like, if you...
That's not a fursuit.
Gritney is the Lady Gritty.
I thought that was more of a... I didn't know that Gritty was a furry.
Gritty's a mascot. The crossover between furries and mascots. There's some crossover.
Are we gonna have to? Oh wait, No, I'm not gonna. I was about to ask a question and I don't want to answer. So I'm
known
gonna
some
just.
people that were their high school mascots that went on to become fairies, and
Well, that makes sense. Okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's
it's not a direct one-to-one correlation, but that Venn diagram does have some crossover.
I can understand that. I have friends that have latex fetishes that are related to their love of balloons.
See, there you go.
So
you never know, listeners.
Yeah.
It's 2020. Grit, like, is a gritty fetish a thing?
Probably.
Whoever made I have that one. I love gritty.
Whoever made Grittina or whatever her name is.
Oh no, you can follow her on Twitter. It's a person. I found her.
I know, but I bet she had a thing for gritty.
A deep and emotional bond.
Yes,
that's what it is.
And she saw gritty and she went,
Emmett, don't debase it.
I'm not trying to debase it.
Gritty.
Hey,
the best in all of us.
If anything I have learned in my 46 years on this planet is you do you. Like, hey, if it makes you happy and it doesn't hurt anybody, go for it.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
Like,
but like, no, the best thing that has come out of this.
I dress up in, I wear
gritty memes. And I love them.
I wear corsets and pretend that I live on an airship. Like, I can't throw shade to anybody.
That is very true. We have a steampunk show.
Yeah, I can't.
You want to talk about lame? It's like, what if goth was less cool?
Yeah, like, we like history.
Hi, have you heard steampunk? We have hurdy-gurdies.
We do. We have Tesla coils.
What if we took all of the stuff with goth, but then added banjos? And everybody's like, no one asked for that. I know, but we're going to do it.
We're doing it anyway, because we thought it was...
We're going to talk about, get this, wait for it. We're going to talk about mariners. It's like, no one wants this.
Yeah, no.
But I think they do.
We're going to talk about the Donner Party.
To the show voluntarily.
Yeah. So that's a thing that we have now talked about. We've just gone all over the map in this episode.
Do I need to make a gritty? I think I might need to make someday. We'll
steampunk gritty.
We'll be able to go to conventions again, and this just might be the coffee porter talking.
You're gonna make a steampunk gritty.
Yes. Oh, you a joke. But it makes my heart happy.
Oh, yeah, see? This
is... A formal gritty?
Yeah. In a top hat.
Ooh, or a chimney sweep gritty. I think chimney sweep gritty.
That's more your speed.
Chimney sweep gritty is the gritty of the people.
Well, with suspenders.
That's why his eyes look like that.
He's gonna have suspenders and one of those driver's caps.
With driver's caps done with some soot on his little gritty face.
There you go.
Oh man.
Well,
okay.
And he'll be gritty.
He'll be gritty. Gritty. What if Gritty never left England? He stayed in England. He didn't go to Philadelphia. Gritty.
That's terrible.
This is not terrible. This is the greatest idea I've ever had. All right. Hey, I know we have some furries that listen to the show. Fursuiters. This is when I become a fursuiter.
I know. I was like, 2020.
Only I want a fucking gritty outfit. I can't afford one. Maybe we can work something out when 2020 doesn't suck the life and the resources out of all of us. But, oh, Emmett. Gritney was born of somebody who just had a great deep love of gritty.
Yeah.
And went, but what if gritty but sexy though? Yeah. And this is how I get into that.
What if gritty but steampunk though?
What if gritty but British though? And also from the Victorian era.
And could be called Britty.
If you are artistically inclined, please make us Britty fan art. Oh my god.
He's a ginger, so he's probably a vampire.
He's also possibly a vampire. You shouldn't trust him, but you should make fan art of him.
He's.
Oh my god, what if he's Scottish?
I was gonna say, Brittany is totally Scottish.
I don't think Brittany talks.
He doesn't, but Brittany might.
I think we can.
Also, if you're wearing the Brittany costume, you're gonna talk. Now I'm just imagining that time when we went to Dragon Con and you were in that Boy Scout costume and you were arguing in Scottish with that being a Scottish guy, and now I'm just picturing Brittany doing all of that.
I could get into a fight with someone while wearing a Boy Scout uniform and using a fake Scottish accent.
It was beautiful.
Thought it was funny.
It was beautiful. We were drunk.
He accused me of being from a country where people didn't know how to speak English. I was talking in a Scottish accent. I was like,
You were drunk. I was drunk. That guy was drunk.
As he was.
No, that's true. He was very drunk. His
I was
girlfriend.
not as drunk as he was, and I was having a good time. He was not.
His poor girlfriend.
That's also the other thing. Like, if you're gonna argue with me about something stupid, I'm just gonna keep it going because I'm having a good time. And you may not be, but I am. So I won't let it go. I'll just keep dragging it out as long as you keep engaging.
His poor girlfriend.
His poor girlfriend. I did feel a little bad for his poor girlfriend because she was dying 1,000 deaths. It was similar to the time that the guy started yelling at us for proselytizing outside of Dragon Con when we were dressed as Mormon war boys.
Oh yeah, well, Mormon, and I had
called them Mormon war boys.
I had to.
I had signs and chick tracks, but they were all about Immortan Joe.
Yeah, I had to tell that poor woman that was with that dude.
He was also very drunk.
Yes,
I was not.
Who was?
And I just kept engaging with him because I thought it was really funny.
Oh well, see, that must have been a different one.
1,000 slow deaths. So she just kept saying, "Honey, they're in costume."
Because there was one that I was dealing with.
This is from Mad Max, sweetheart.
Yeah, there was one that I was dealing with. I didn't know. I don't think anybody else was around me, but there was definitely the moment where he got really mad about, you shouldn't be allowed to hand out religious tracts during this convention. Like, that's just not that is just not cool. And he was just going on, and his girlfriend turned and said, honey, they're dressed up from Mad Max. And she showed him the tract thing that I handed to her, and she went, it's a joke. Look, this is not real. And he was just, and I went, no, dude, I'm not
shaved heads and the war boy makeup.
Like, dude, we just thought this was funny. I'm sorry if you're offended. And then he was like, it was like the wind had gotten knocked out of his sails. He was so ready for a fight, and and I was like, "Oh no, I'm not. We're not." And his girlfriend being like, "No, they're fine. Like, it's a joke." Yeah, that was very. I felt slightly bad, but at the same time, like, dude, you need to chill.
You need to calm down.
Calm down, relax. It is Saturday. It is only the second day of this convention. Like, if this is the thing that breaks you. You need to go back to your room.
Also, I'm a ginger. I have no soul. I cannot be trusted. Don't get in a verbal battle with me, because I'm a vampire.
Ha
ha!
And with that...
I need to suck your blood! I don't understand what you're trying to say. Speak English.
And with that... Oh... Thank you, everyone, for listening, and thank you, everyone, for being wonderful and getting through 2020, hopefully.
Oh, no, don't do that, because we still got 2 months.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right. I just feel like it's over now, but it's not. 2020 is not over. Thank you for...
2020, we have learned.
Thank you for everybody who has worked diligently and hard to hopefully... get us in the
Stem the
everything.
bleeding.
Hmm?
This is not we haven't fixed we haven't healed the wounds
it's
yet.
leading.
But hopefully we're trying to stem the bleeding.
Yes, we are hopefully heading in the right direction, and I really, really appreciate everyone who has done the hard work. I know both of us.
We definitely know some of our listeners were poll workers and like waited in line for hours and did a lot of hard labor.
And I appreciate that, and we do what we can, but we are only 2 people, so that I know of.
No, we appreciate. We just wanted to say we appreciate y'all. We appreciate everybody who voted and campaigned and text banked and called people and worked the polls and waited in line for several hours to vote. Or who even didn't wait in line several hours to vote and still went and voted anyway. It was a pandemic. It would have been easier and safer and just all around simpler to stay home, but you didn't, and we appreciate that. We appreciate you. I felt like the need to give a little special shout out to all the people that we know for a fact went out and went above and beyond.
Yeah.
Because it's the least we could fucking do.
Yes. Yeah. And so, I just, thankfully, we will continue the fight.
We'll continue to, and we'll continue to do the show.
Yes.
Come hell or high water.
Yeah.
And
at some point,
who knows?
Yeah, and at some point, maybe Lady Attercop and I can be in the same room together, and
that would be lovely.
And we can go back to never talking about politics again on this show, which would be great.
That would also be lovely, and there wouldn't be this weird delay when either one of us talks because we're recording this over Zoom and not in person.
That would be awesome. And with that,
Dice, my darling again.
Yes, and with that, this has been the Clockwork Cabaret. She is Lady Attercop,
and she is Emmett Davenport,
and it's not work we do.
It's love.
Attention, Sky Captains! Are you suffering from a particularly bad case of keratophobia?
He means a fear of lightning.
Have you been the unfortunate victim of multiple lightning strikes? Tired of buying new suits as the old reek of carbon and are singed beyond repair? Suffer and worry no longer, my dear sirs. With the recent invention of Dr. Luminasovich's patented Eucomian suits, you'll never again have to worry about being struck down by lightning. Light and comfortable and terribly easy to wear, Dr. Luminosovich's patented Eucomian suits are perfectly suited, if you'll pardon my pun, to a life in the skies. 110% guaranteed to prevent any and all human landfall of that most horrifying atmospheric discharge. And coming soon, top hat-mounted lightning rods.
Patent pending.